One of Rangers' greatest managers, Walter Smith, has died at the age of 73. He won 21 trophies as manager, including 7 of the 9 league titles in a row. Our reporter Mark Benstead looks back on his life in football.
He was the boyhood Rangers fan who led the club to its greatest successes. Walter Smith also served his country, Everton and Dundee United with distinction, in a coaching career spanning nearly 40 years. By his own admission, he was an average player, although a good enough defender to play for Dundee United and feature in their defeat to Celtic in the 1974 Scottish Cup final. As his playing career wound down, he joined the Tannadice coaching staff under Jim McLean, eventually becoming his assistant. The duo led Dundee United to an historic Scottish Premier Division title in 1983. The following year, they reached the European Cup semi-finals, losing controversially to Roma. In April 1986, Graham Souness began his Rangers revolution, and he appointed Smith as his assistant. They made an immediate impact, winning the club's first league championship in 9 years in 1987, amidst joyous scenes. 2 more league titles followed in 89 and 90, as well as 3 league cups. But the following year, as Rangers battled Aberdeen for the championship, Souness left for Liverpool after Kenny Dalglish's resignation. Smith was left to guide Rangers over the finishing line, and his team beat Aberdeen on the final day of the season to win a 3rd successive title. Smith was appointed the full-time manager at that point, and Rangers went on to be crowned Scottish champions in the next 6 seasons, eventually securing 9 in a row. Under Smith, Rangers became arguably the most powerful team in Britain, spending more money than any other club. In 1992, they knocked English champions Leeds United out of Europe and came agonisingly close to reaching the Champions League final, whilst completing a domestic treble.
I think probably in a few seasons' time, when hopefully it's retired or not a sack, we can look back and say that this is one of the best seasons that the club's had, and obviously we're delighted to be involved in it.
It was an unparalleled era of success, as players such as Paul Gascoigne and Brian Laudrup lit up Scottish football.
Brian Laudrup, past Marshall!
In October 1997, Smith announced he'd leave Rangers at the end of the season, as the club was bidding for 10 in a row. However, they came up short on the final day of the season to Celtic and lost the Scottish Cup final in his last game as manager. Smith soon joined Everton, replacing Howard Kendall, but in 4 years at Goodison, he struggled to propel the club up the table as they battled with financial difficulties. He considered resignation when Duncan Ferguson was sold behind his back, and with Everton locked in a relegation fight, he was eventually sacked in March 2002. Smith briefly joined Manchester United in 2004 as Sir Alex Ferguson's assistant and helped them to win the FA Cup. At international level, he had been Ferguson's number 2 with Scotland at the 1986 World Cup finals in Mexico. But Smith was then appointed manager in his own right in December 2004 after Bertie Vogts resigned. Assisted by Rangers legend Ali McCoist and Celtic icon Tommy Burns, Smith rebuilt the confidence of the national team and orchestrated a famous win over France at Hampden Park in October 2006, at the start of a memorable campaign which nearly saw Scotland return to major championship football. They were a close-knit coaching team, and when Burns sadly died from cancer in 2008, Smith and McCoist helped bear his coffin at the funeral. An iconic moment that transcended the fierce rivalry of the old firm. In January 2007, Smith resigned as Scotland boss to return to Ibrox for a second spell as Rangers manager after Paul Le Guen's sacking.
There's obviously a little bit of regret about leaving the national team, but the lure of coming back to Rangers was just something that I felt I had to do.
In 4.5 years, he won 3 SPL titles, 2 Scottish Cups and 3 League Cups, while also guiding Rangers to the 2008 UEFA Cup final, where his team lost to Zenit St. Petersburg. Smith retired in 2011 after securing Rangers' 3rd successive league championship on the final day of the season at Kilmarnock.
Trust Walter Smith to bow out like this. Another title, another trophy for a man who will take a very prominent place in the history of this famous club.
It was Rangers' last major trophy for a decade, as the club went into administration the following season. As the club began to recover, Smith joined the Rangers board, first as a non-executive director in 2012, then as chairman the following year. But he resigned 3 months later after infighting broke the boardroom. His final league championship remained Rangers' most recent major honour until they were confirmed as last season's league champions on March 7th. He was awarded the OBE in 1997 for services to football and was one of the first inductees into the Scottish Football Hall of Fame. Walter Smith will forever be associated with Rangers' glory years, but he'll also be remembered as a true icon of Scottish football.